Lady Charmaine, and my guest today is a successful movie director who has directed movies like No Greater Love and the upcoming movie Grace Unplugged. I want you to help me welcome director Brad J Silverman to the show. Hey, Brad, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me. So great to be with you today.
Well, first, I want to commend you. I saw the movie Grace Unplugged, and it truly tugged my heart, my daughter's heart, because my daughter is a singer. And when we was watching the movie, it kind of reminded me so much of our relationship with our daughter, because sometimes she wants to not only write Christian songs, but then she wants to try to do secular songs as well. And we try to encourage her, just stay with the Lord, and trust me, he will bless you. Do not think that the world is going to bless you like the Lord will. So I think it touched my entire family. So I just want to say thank you so much for producing a great movie.
Oh, well, thank you for the kind words. Yeah, no, definitely. I think this is a universal story. I think that people will be able to relate at many, many levels to the struggles and triumphs that these characters go through. And at the same time, hey, we don't make a commentary that says, hey, you're only supposed to sing one kind of music, that, you know, if you're not singing Christian music, you're inherently in sin. There's no commentary on that at all. What we say in the film is just examine your motives. Mm-hmm. Why are you doing what you're doing? Are you doing it to be a star? Are you doing it for yourself? Anything we do that is for our own personal gain, that's the problem. And we want to be living our lives for the Lord, no matter what that looks like.
And that's exactly what I say. You got to examine the motive of why you're doing the song, because she think, oh, I'll become a big old star. Well, if that's what you're looking forward to, that's the wrong reason. Just to become a star because you wrote a song for somebody. And so your movie really brought that point across. And I want to ask you, why did you even decide to make a film about a teenage daughter running away from home to pursue a singing career in Hollywood?
Sure. Well, my wife and I have served in youth ministry for well over a decade now, and I thought I was going to be a full-time youth pastor. That was just our passion and our calling. And I used to be a filmmaker before I got saved, and when just about a few years ago, right before we made No Greater Love, we just had this real passion that said, maybe we're not called to be a formal pastor with youth, but maybe we're called to sort of combine our youth ministry passion with our filmmaking passion. And here we are. So I say that, combined with watching so many of my friends who have older kids watch just the trials that they went through as these young people were transitioning into adulthood, and they were having to examine their own lives and try to reconcile, how do we reconcile our own desires to go do this and that? How do we reconcile that with desiring to please God? So such a big theme in the film is, a young person coming of age really examining, first and foremost, are you genuinely saved? Mm-hmm. Are you genuinely a Christian? Do you genuinely desire to live your life for the glory of God? So it's definitely a struggle for the young girl, the 18-year-old girl in the film, but it's also an equal struggle for the parents who are trying to make sense of it all as well. So all those things just create a real compulsion in me to want to tell this story.
Now, do you feel a lot of teenage daughters struggle with their relationships with their fathers?
I do. I think inherent in our human condition, in our fallen, sinful condition, is we struggle with authority in general.
You ain't lying. That is so true.
We inherently want to do what we want to do mm-hmm. when we want to do it. Mm-hmm. And when things, as James chapter 4 says, when things get in our way, that's when fights happen. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I think for most, now you take it with an emotional teenage girl in this film, sure, I think it's a very universal theme that, we struggle with authority. And if you look at this, so many teens today, they might be having issues and conflict with their parents, but one of the things that I believe is true, per the scriptures, is that so often the relationship we have with our parents, or the conflict we have with the authority of our parents, really is just reflective of how we feel about the authority of God in our lives. Mm. And the parents are sort of the representatives that are standing in our way as we see it, as the young people. We look at the parents and say, well, they're standing in our way, they're wrong. Well, maybe we're just having an issue with being under God's authority, and conversely, the parents have to learn to deal with that as well, how to graciously deal with a young person who's not so young anymore. But yes, I do think it's a very universal theme.
That was such a great point, because so how do you view the authority of God? Say, now I got to talk to my daughters about something else. We have Bible study every morning, but that was a great point. I got to bring that up tomorrow morning. Okay, thank you. And I want to know, what do you hope that viewers walk away with after seeing this film?
Well, it is a movie, first and foremost, so I hope people are very entertained by it. I hope they're just lost in the story like you go to any movie. You know, I hope that people are just really entertained and walk away going, wow, that was a really good film. I really enjoyed my time. But certainly, obviously, there's so much more behind this movie, and I hope that it's if nothing else, I hope it's a conversation starter.
And I think it is. It really is.
Good. I mean, you saw it, and, you know, hopefully people will walk away asking questions and examining their own hearts and looking at their own lives, not saying, I need to stop doing this, but that's forget that. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why do I want to do this? Why do I want to pursue this career? And I would love to see honest, transparent conversations between parents and teens, between teens and their peers, between grandparents and adult kids and whatever. See that happen, and that, you know, hopefully families will be strengthened by this, and in many cases, I hope even families that the Lord will use this to help reconcile them.
Because you gave everyone a book. It was the book Own It. And I thought the book was so powerful because we were going over the book and just truly owning your faith. Why did you feel it was so important to also release not only the book Own It, but you also have the book Grace Unplugged? Why did you feel it was so important to release those books along with this movie?
Well, you know, the film can only go so deep. You know, again, going back to the point that it is a movie, we didn't want it to be a sermon. We didn't want it to be a medicine film. You know, well, here, 5 easy steps to have a better relationship with your adult kid. You know, it's not that at all. It's a movie. But within the movie, we thought, what a great opportunity to be able to go deeper. Mm-hmm. And with the movie as sort of the catalyst to this, actually the book Own It is in the movie. It's a book that she reads in the film. We thought, oh, gosh, that should be a real book. And it was already in the works to say we really should do that. But we just felt the topic was too critical to let go. That for young people, do you own your own faith? Or another way to put it is, are you really owned by Jesus Christ? And in that vein, we thought, what about a book that just affects so many young people today? Is the faith you profess in Christ, is it really yours? Or are you just borrowing it from your parents? Or getting it from your youth pastor or your godly friend or what have you? So we thought it was a topic that was too important just to brush aside.
Oh, that's really good. And you guys did such a great job because you had a young man in there who knew her ministry with her father, and then he was very instrumental in her relationship and her coming back. Because it's a great story about, it's like, if you're listening to me, it's like the prodigal son returning back home, and God used a young man in the film who was very instrumental in giving her the book Own It, because he had read it several times. And so it was instrumental. So make sure you go and get the book as well. You also have a great soundtrack for the film. Tell us about the soundtrack.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you asked. I mean, this film is, you know, the one of the central characters, if you will, in this film is the music. You know, these people, the dad's a former rock star who's now, you know, he got saved, and 25 years later now he's a music pastor at a church. His daughter's a brilliant singer, songwriter, musician as well. So these, you know, music is just central to these characters' lives. That's how they live. That's how they express themselves. So it just made sense to have just a killer soundtrack to go with it. And so within we partnered with Capital Christian Music Group, who they're the biggest label for Christian music in the world. So you're going to hear the actors singing at church, and they're singing Chris Tomlin and Hillsong and Matt Redman, and you'll also hear Toby Mac and Sean McDonald and Colton Dixon, who was on American Idol, and you name it. I counted. I didn't even realize it, but there are 24 songs in this film. I had no idea it was that many. And so we're really excited. I think people will really, really enjoy the soundtrack.
Okay, and I want to remind everyone that the film is going to be in theaters on October the 4th. And where can they go to find out what theater is going to be in their city?
Well, we're very fortunate. The film is opening in over 500 theaters throughout the country on Friday, October 4th. So, and that opening weekend is really important, October 4th through 6th. is a really important weekend, not only for this film, but for all Christian films in the future. You can go to GraceUnplugged.com, GraceUnplugged.com. You'll see a little theaters tab. Just click on theaters. You'll see where it's playing. Like I said, over 500 theaters, so it'll probably be playing somewhere. I know it's playing all over Sacramento.
Awesome. I want to thank you so much, Brad, for coming on the show. And I want to remind everyone to make sure you go and check out Grace Unplugged in theaters October the 4th. Thank you again, Brad, for coming on the show.
Thanks, Lady Charmaine. It's great to talk with you. Great to see you again.
Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.